All right, we're going live. Sheesh. Sorry about the delay there. The wait. Chase is here, Minted Panda's here, VFET's here, Isaiah, GH, and Jaren. Good morning, everybody. I decided it would be a good idea to try to upgrade the uh the stream a little bit. So now you get this beautiful microphone right in front of you right in front of you. How's everything sounding and looking? And sorry again for the delay. Can you hear me? And then we'll flip it around and look at some a little stressful way to start the day when I thought everything was working and then it stopped. All right. And we'll flip it around and hey Matt, thank you. Thank you very much. Aspect ratio square. I noticed that. You know what, man? Let's see if we can fix that really quick. Properties? Should we do this live on camera? Maybe not. It's like I can make it bigger, but then it cuts me off. Do you want that? Yeah, whatever. Maybe we don't do that just yet. And I'll fix that. I'll try to figure that out. I don't know why it's sending a square to my phone here. All right, whatever. Let's take a look at some of the stuff that we're going to be preparing to ship out today. And I got a big old truck going by. So let's see how I can do this with the microphone still here. All right. Welcome to my desk. Fix the AV on the camera. We're all family. Okay, this is some of the stuff that we're going to be preparing to send out today. I think we'd like to start off with the brand new blue because they're turning out really, really nice. So this is Bugs Moran in the brand new Royal Blue Dublin. And you can see the pull-up effect even on this vibrant blue shade. It's still very present and very, very nice. And I'm loving the blue. Seems like a lot of people are agreeing because I think we might actually be sold out of many of these, and we made a bunch. So sort of a good vote of confidence that we're on the right track here with some of the colors and leathers we're doing. And people haven't even received them yet, I don't think. But if you ordered something when we launched it, you ought to be receiving your brand new Royal Blue Cypress this week. And I'm really excited to see what you think about it because I find it to be very, very, very nice. It's like very, very dense. It's got a great like intense feel to it, but not like overly so. A very natural appearance for such a bright shade, which I like to see. And we've got the foxes that also look really, really great. A couple of those. And they're all pretty similar, so it's almost redundant to show multiples of them. I gotta work on my setup here still. Gotta figure this out. All right, so I think that's most of the blue. Let's go on to some more sort of waxy leathers. So the Dublin here, this is our English tan Dublin Johnny the Fox with the thinner interior pieces. And I believe these are actually now steer hide on the inside of the foxes and on the inside of the English tan as well as on the blue cypress. We were able to find a way with the tannery to make thinner steer hide as opposed to the horse hide. And they're both nice. The horse hide is a little bit more of like an intense grain character, but it can also be a little bit too inconsistent. So you won't get like a super clean looking Bugs Moran like this out of a horse hide. I think that look here where it's very, very flat and smooth and just like a really nice color, I think that's where it's at. I also really like this on the steer hides. Sometimes the grain on the horse is just like a little too rough, where I find the natural sort of figuring on the steer hides to be more pleasant looking like that here. Sort of looks like a trunk of a tree or something. It's like really cool. We also have this English Tan one-shot card case going out today. And here's a Tony the Ant in natural shell. And by the way, everything that I'm showing you here, these are things that we need to prepare to ship today. So none of this has been polished or finished up completely. But it's sort of like 80, 90% of the way there. This Capone here is like closer to 99%. And I love the color 8 and black shell items that we're doing because of these edges. So if you look at the edge of this color 8 shell cordovan Capone money clip, you'll notice the color is very consistent with the color of the shell. And that's because we do a little bit of extra work in hand stain, wax, and burnish all the edges for the black and color 8 shell items. This is a little different. So this is sort of a good contrast. So this is color 8 shell cordovan on the outside with a reverse interior that somebody picked up over the last 24 hours. I like reverse interiors. Some people don't like the randomized look. I find it to be a very unique look, and you're never going to get two wallets that look exactly the same with a reverse interior like you see on this guy. I really got to get that shadow out of here. Still working on the live stream setup. But the color 8 on the outside reverse interior, we do a waxed and burnished edge that you can see here. It's significantly different than the stained edge. It's a little bit of a more rugged look, which a lot of people like. I like them both. And here's a good version of that hand stained edge in the black. So this is our vertical Bugs Moran, the black shell cordovan on the outside and on the inside. We have to pick thinner pieces of shell for the interior of the vertical bugs, which is also not very simple. These and the foxes are really tough to do in shell. Oh, I have one more blue piece. This is a one-shot card case in the Royal Blue Cypress. So if you're curious about the Royal Blue Cypress and you don't want to spend like $100 on a wallet, this is a good way to experience it in person. And the one-shot card case is our least expensive wallet. This is a good like front pocket, very minimalist style sort of thing. So, I like to wear something like this if I need to go to a wedding and I don't want to have a huge fat Herbie. I don't like to wear back pocket wallets with like dress suits and sort of things. So I'll put something like that in my front pocket, and I like it for those situations. Here's a Capone money clip in Black Dublin. I've actually been having a tough time keeping most wallets in stock. This Black Dublin, along with some of the other Capone colors, we seem to keep selling out of. But, if we're sold out of something that you're really interested in, just send us a message and odds are we can just have it made to order for you. So here's a Johnny the Fox, also in Dublin. But this is the black color. I find the black Dublin to be the most interesting black leather around. You don't find many black leathers that have a natural appearance like this. And a lot of the times, the secret reason is that tanneries will take their lowest grades and put them into black because black tends to hide most everything. And in addition to drum dyeing them black, they will also put a very, very heavy finish over the top of a black leather and starts to look like paint. So most black leathers that you'll come across in the world look really, really boring and flat, and we don't like that. And that's why I like the Dublin so much. Another vertical bugs here, this time in the color 8 shell as opposed to the black shell there. So we can look at the color 8 hand stained edge on these. I do like, let me spin this back around here for a sec. Hi. I do, I like doing these, our coffee talks. Should we call it coffee talk? Leather talk. I like doing these because we tend to forget. I have had forgotten just how nice our like standard stuff is, being something like a English tan Johnny the Fox. And most of the video content I have been doing is more based around what's new and exciting, private stock, or if we're doing like little small batches of things, or maybe it's a new leather, something like that. So I really like doing these because number one, I can thank people directly on a live stream, but also it gives me a chance to reconnect with like what we do here, like on a day-to-day basis. So a lot of people don't really see, like they'll see all our private stock stuff sell out really quickly, but we do much more stuff than the private stock. So I like to show it. Okay. Here's another little tray. So yeah, if you picked up something in the last 24 hours, we're pulling it out on the table here. Let me give you a little, I want to promote this stuff too. So we actually have just received another case of the Horween Venetian cream. If you have Chrome Excel footwear and at Shell Cordovan footwear, this product works really well on most leathers. Horween uses this product specifically, which is why they packaged it. They use this on every piece of Shell Cordovan that they finish. I use it on my Chrome Excel stuff. And for me, when I do Cordovan, I tend to like the amount of fill that I get, like the wax from the Saphir Cordovan cream. So we use this product, the Saphir, on pieces of Shell Cordovan that we ship. And I think it gives it just like a little bit more of a flat effect, and I find it to be a little bit brighter. It also has a nice smell. So I like the Saphir for Cordovan, this particular product, the Cordovan cream. And I just got like many cases of this too. So if you want Cordovan cream, I just got a new stock of that. And then the last, people are picking up leather coat stuff, which is great. We also have the Tanner's blend. I like this for Chrome Excel. People have had amazing results with this conditioner on antique furniture. One of my favorite results that I had seen is like an old, like vintage leather ottoman and a chair that looked really dried out, and like it looked like a pale brown. And customer sent us a before and after photo with this, and it looked brand new. It like breathed the life back into older leather. For me, when I use this, I like to apply this conditioner after washing any leather with soap and water. You need to give it like a little bit of nourishment back into the skin, and that's what I like the Tanner's blend for. Let me flip it back over. Boom. There's a couple more things to look at, and you can see the start of our Valet tray. So this is the English tan. Both of these are English tan Dublin, and they're two different sizes. This top one is our original Valet tray size. It's a square, and we designed this with snaps that you can see are attached on the larger Valet tray. And we wanted it to snap open so you could lay it flat and travel with it. I actually noticed when I was on vacation a few weeks ago, it was really nice for me to have all my stuff, even though I was in an unfamiliar environment. It was nice to have my Valet tray, keeping all my stuff, like my keys back there on a trip, just put on my wallet and things like in one spot. It was nice because then I didn't lose them, and my wife was actually constantly losing her stuff. So we have our regular size Valet tray. This one's an English tan Dublin. Still need to put the hardware on there and polish it up a little bit. This is the XL size. You can see it's significantly larger. It's just like a huge. It's actually a thicker piece of leather. This is a couple ounces thicker than what we use on our wallets, which I think is more appropriate for a Valet tray like this. And we also use that same leather for Apple Watch bands. This is not a Dublin Apple Watch band, but you get a sense of the thickness that we use based on this here. And then we got a couple more little treats. I also like to use, I don't know if you know this, I like to use all the footwear I get. I like to use the box lids to show all the wallets and stuff. We actually use the box lids to like organize our stuff in the shop here. So this is our Key Buddy keychain belt clip in natural Chrome Excel. You can see here, this is that same thickness as the Valet trays. This is a lot thicker than what we use on wallets, which we find to be more appropriate for an item like this. I actually use one in Cordovan. I've been using this Color 8 Cordovan one since we had launched it, and I love mine. You can actually see some of the finish rubbing off on the antique brass here on the bottom. It's looking a little different than the snap, but originally it started like that. But I really like mine, and I don't baby this at all, and it's wearing great. So the keychain belt clip's great. Magenta Shell Cordovan small zip wallet. If I can open this with one hand, it's gonna be tricky. I see you guys chatting. Let me get through the walls here, and then I can answer any questions you have. So queue up your questions too if you got questions. On the inside of the small zip, this one has a black horsehide interior, which goes great. We do a little bit of a hand stained edge on the magenta shell cordovan 2. Here's a black Dublin small zip with like super intense grain. I believe this one also has black on the inside. I like those a lot for just throwing in a bag and forgetting about it. Here's an Apple Watch band we were talking about. This one's a natural shell cordovan. And these tend to get really, really dark just with normal use. The patina that develops on the natural shell is great. Here's a vault key holder in black shell cordovan. And last up is a bottle opener in English tan Dublin. This one still needs to get the edges finished a little bit. I actually had forgotten that we had these. I wonder how these I wonder if Matt found some of them and put them up on our website. But we do, this is like a custom made metal piece in stainless steel, and we have it like brush in a particular way for us. It's like a linear pattern in the metal, which I'm having a hard time showing. And then we made like a little sheath for the handle of it. Actually use this in football at home. And then this is, I actually had this one returned to me. This is a small zip that the stitching popped out on. So if you have any issues like this, definitely let us know, because everything we do, we want you to wear it forever. So if you have any stitching that pops out or any issues at all, just send me a message and we'll probably repair it or replace it. I think this one actually needs to be a replacement, which is rare for us, but this is actually the first small zip that I've seen come back our way for an issue. So I'm happy to take care of this person and just send them a new one. But you can kind of see, it doesn't look like this was worn a ton, but you can kind of see some of the wear patterning on the Dublin. It will give you these like little small abrasions, but that's actually just the wax that has been sort of scuffed on the surface. If you were to take even just like a hair dryer and blow this off with a little bit of heat, you would see all these colors sort of blend back in place. You can also do it just by heating up that wax with a little bit of friction. I'll try to do it here with one hand. You could just heat it back up and those scratches tend to blend back in really nicely. Which is sort of like the magic about both the Dublin and now the Cypress leather, is each of those have a hard wax finish on the surface that tend to make them more resilient. You can kind of just blend in scratches like that, which if I had a little bit more time to heat up the wax, you would see that completely disappear. And if I wasn't tethered to the screen here, I would go do that for you live. So that's kind of a problem with the live stream setup right now. And people were complaining about the audio quality, which I totally get because it sounds like crap. But I don't have a good way to remote like this USB microphone yet. I'm gonna keep, I like trying stuff and learning new things, so I'll figure it out eventually. The thing I'm using right now that connects my phone to the computer is sort of like is like a better webcam. They used to carry audio over this video component, and they just like stopped doing it. So that would have been a nice like way to mobile and do a little bit of a higher quality stream here for you guys. I'll find something. All right, let's take a look at the chat. And drink coffee. Who's drinking coffee today? Wake me up. Oh, okay. Who is in the chat? Let's find out. Okay. Oh, Chase was being very patient back in the beginning. Minted Panda says, can I return a 3-shot card case that I barely used for a few hours? I don't like the size. It's too big. Thought it would be smaller. If it's used and it looks used, I can't. I think you can understand that. So like if you use an item and it, I can't take it back and sell it. It's probably not something I can take as a return. But if you want to send me photos, if it doesn't look used, maybe. But you can reach out to us on that. Beefette says, "Good morning, fellow Ash Hats." That's a new one. Let's get the show on the road. Good morning, Isaiah, GH, Jaron. Matt's here. And Matt, thanks again for verifying my audio sounds okay. It's crisp, says Chase. Joseph, good morning. Love the morning chats. Yep, we're doing it. Fix the AV on the camera. We're all family. Matt says the blue next to English tan or amaretto is very pretty. That's actually a cool concept, Matt. We could do like, we've seen some cool made to order wallets where people will combine like oranges and blues together. So I think an English tan or amaretto with the blue would be neat. And I don't know if you've seen, I mean, the blue's so new. I don't think that's been done. I do feel like we had done a raw natural cordovan with the blue, with the royal blue, and that looked really neat too, especially with like a blue stitching. Yeah, it's pretty great. Matt's pointing out that it's unbelievable that the royal blue is an actual aniline finish, and yeah, it's a really nice color, and that's again because of the tannage that we worked on with Horween is a little bit different than the tannage for Dublin. You can get brighter shades on the Dublin leather, but with that wax layer and the combination of the tannage plus the wax, it tends to darken up perhaps too much. So for me, on the like I'm wearing the royal blue. For me, the color is retained longer in the cypress in a brighter shade, and you tend to be able to get in my observation, it seems to be like a more vibrant shade. So we're really happy with that, the work that Horween's done with us. Imagine now if the RB color opens up a lot of inspiration for other bright aniline colors. I had been thinking about that too. I think green might be a next step, but most people, as a putting the business hat on, is most people buying a leather wallet sort of have in mind what leather should look like, and it doesn't look blue. I think most people imagine a piece of leather looking something more like the English tan Dublin or even just like the brown cypress. It's darker, it's browner. I think that's what people imagine leather to look like. So when we've done in the past done something like an orange, people there's like this dissonance that I think happens where people are like, that's not leather. But the truth is that you can sort of make leather any color. Now the reason we did blue is because on the table behind me in the video I did announcing the royal blue, we had a leather called Blue Rockford that people loved the color of. And we do all this for our customers. So if you guys want something and there's enough people that say like, I really want that, we will do it. And you see us do it all the time. Vertical Bugs, this new blue. There's plenty of products that were developed. Tony the Ant was developed because many people wanted the Fat Herbie, but they wanted it smaller. So that's sort of what we're just trying to, our goal is to find the best leathers and find new interesting leathers and then to connect them with products that you're interested in. So if there is something that you want to do and enough people want to do it, we're probably going to. Having said that, I think blue is a good starting point to proof the concept here, and it seems like it's very, very, like this is probably the most popular launch that we've had. This and the shell belt, which by the way, this is the production sample or standard for the shell cordovan belt. Today's the last day that you can order this color of cordovan belt. I think they're mostly sold out. I have to check that. But I think there's been a lot of people that got the shell belt. It's interesting. The royal blue and the shell belt have been probably our most successful launches ever, and they both happened at the same time. So it's been really busy here. So blue, this is like, I think this is now going to be a standard color. So I'm going to make it a product page that's not private stock. And then, yeah, like I think green might be a good next step. And there is something to be said for like going a little funky, because there's probably a reason people don't do it, but I'm sure there are some people that want a red wallet, for example, or like a yellow. So maybe we'll be the guys that will just do things other people don't. But sort of like a business decision because the leather's expensive and you have to buy a lot of it. And if I can't make enough product out of it, I'm gonna fill up this entire workshop with leather and um, eat oatmeal for every meal. But good questions, Matt. Matt is also asking, is there any color or leather that you personally do not like? Yeah, I'd imagine that there's many. Um, that's a really good question. I haven't thought about that too much. I tend to like many Horween leathers. There's some that I don't like. I'm kind of into the feel texture of things, or like the hand feel of things. So there's a leather called Stampede. That I think Timberland has made a lot of footwear out of, and there's something about the feel of that leather. It's like a nubuck, sort of suede grain, uh, and there's something about the feel of that feels like a chalkboard to me. It like gives me the like nails on a chalkboard spine tingly thing. It has a really neat look, and they can do nice colors on it, but there's something weird about the feel on there. For me, when I see a leather, I imagine like what I can turn it into. So if it's something that's like really thin and chalkboardy feeling, I would think of some sort of application of how to use it. So I like it for a reason, and I can kind of find a good use for everything. So I can sort of sell myself on liking stuff, no matter what. Um, but I tend to like, we sell the things I like. So I tend to like more aniline finishes. I like a depth of color. I like to pull up. I like really intense grain figuring. I like shrunken. It's called a shrunken leather. There's some shrunken shoulders that Hormone used to do that they don't do anymore. That I keep every time I go over there, I ask them to do. There was a leather called Whaler that I really loved. That was a shrunken shoulder that had like the same wax as the Dublin and the Cypress, but something had happened where they stopped making that material, so they couldn't tan it anymore. Um, so it's a good question, Matt. I got to think about that one a little bit more, but I'm sure there's many leathers I don't like. Honestly, if I go to like Target, which I like Target, I'm too much of a snob to be able to enjoy or appreciate most of the leather goods they have. It just looks really fake to me. It kind of just looks like plastic. So I'm sort of not into that. Color wise, I like them all. I like all the colors. I like textures. I like new. I like novel. GH says, how resistant is shell to scratches in a pocket with keys compared to Dublin? Do you have a video of examples of scratches, how to repair them? I don't think I have a video of that necessarily. Maybe I might have done one with like spoon polishing, but I don't remember if it was filling in a scratch. Um, both the any leather is going to scratch. Anything that that's not a diamond is going to scratch. It's more about like how easily is that scratch filled in and repaired. So when I was talking about heating up the wax on the Dublin here, these little scratches, that's what's great about Dublin is it tends to fill itself in very, very easily. Same with the Chrome Excel and same with the shell cordovan. I find the cordovan to be a little bit more difficult to fill in, but it does fill in sort of naturally, especially in a wallet. You just wear it and let those waxes that are tanned in the skin, let those reactivate, and eventually the polishing in your pocket will fill in the scratches. They're all delicate in one way of looking at it. So, if you take a nail or something, it's going to scratch. There are ways to finish leather with more like silicone in the top coat that resist anything from grabbing it. So you wouldn't be able to puncture that silicone layer with a nail in that example to be able to abrade anything. It would just sort of slide off the top. So there are some ways to do that. But the more you put on the leather, the less natural it will appear and the less patina will develop. So there's always a balancing act between how much natural appearance and patina do you want and how much performance do you want. So to answer your second part of it, it's like how to repair the scratches. On Dublin, just heat it up. I've done it successfully with a hairdryer and just blow hot air on this, it fills in the scratches. You can also use a little bit of friction just to melt those back into place. On the cordovan, I just wear it as a wallet. On the shell cordovan boots that I have, I've scuffed those up. They tend to blend in themselves, but on that boot, it's a natural shell cordovan plain toe boot from Viberg. I successfully filled in a lot of it just with applying a little bit of water and brushing it. It sort of smoothed itself out. The more advanced way to fill in a scratch on shell is to observe what direction that it was scratched and to mat in back the fibers in the opposite direction with like water and or a waxy finish like the Venetian cream or like the Saphir cordovan cream. Apply a tiny bit of this and then rub it the opposite direction. So if you scratched it going forward, you're going to want to mat it back the other way, then just sort of fill it back into place. And you can use something like the backside of a spoon to do that. I sort of like don't, I think I'm the minority in this after reading a bit, but I don't think that many people care enough to actually, I think most people care enough to do that work. For me, I don't care enough to do the work. I just want to wear it and see how it goes on, like showing my style, which is like obviously a little bit more rugged with the raw denim and stuff like that. So it sort of depends on your style, but they're boots, they're meant to be worn. It's a wallet. It's meant to be used. It's sort of up to you how much you want to baby it. Berto, Ashland leather standard is top class. Well, thanks, man. I think you haven't even received your wallet yet, so I'm going to call you out. But I'm really excited for you to have your Herbie, Berto. Mark says Venetian versus Tanners. Venetian has more wax in it, which will give you more ability to create a brighter luster. The Tanner's blend does not have any wax in it. This is a lanolin based product. That's more of it's more of like a conditioner for your hair. So it's gonna renourish all of your hair in that example. So it doesn't feel very dried out. It sort of breathes the life back into leather goods, the Tanner's blend, in terms of like to me it feels like an inner glow almost. To get kind of corny about it. It's like the leather starts to glow again, more from the inside, where the Venetian or any waxy polish will create more of like a surface layer of those waxes that tend to get brighter. So for me, Tanner's blend is more about conditioning and nourishing the leather, where the Venetian is more about giving a little bit of fill for scratches and then a brighter luster. And Wes is here. What's up, Wes? Matt said, would a valet tray help your wife from losing her stuff? Yes, it would. But she packs so much that I don't think he even has room for a valet tray. We, when you go check your bags and they weigh your bag, it's like you cannot have more than 50 pounds. Hers is literally 49.9 pounds every time. It's like right on I think she probably weighs it before we go. Oh, Sherman has a good question. What's up, Sherman? Sherman says, what are your thoughts about the Austin leather that Horween has versus the Dublin? So Austin is really nice, and there have been versions of Austin over the years. I'm looking back for my old indie boots. Indie boots used to be made out of Austin leather, and they had this really nice calf-like appearance. And in fact, so much so that Alden started calling it calf. It's not calf, it's steer hide. And the original Austin had a really, really nice grain. It sort of felt velvety, even though it was full grain. It was not suede at all. It had this really nice, soft feel to it and a very tight break. Now, the Austin sort of morphed into a different product over the years where footwear brands wanted more finish applied to that grain. And it started to look a little bit more painted on. So even on some of the indie boots, like the ones I have, has more finish applied on the surface. So as it has become scuffed, it's giving me this two-tone effect, which is also interesting, but for a different reason. I think more finish in my taste, I tend to like less finish. I'd rather see more inconsistency of color and texture as opposed to like a very consistent flat color. But, that's that product, that work boot from Alden. I think more traditionally like the old school vintage work boots are very, very flat in color and almost pigmented looking. I think that's kind of where they went. I don't know what they have done in the last several years, but that's all to say that Austin has had many variations of the finish that has been applied to it. So to answer your question, it depends on the variation you're talking about. But generally speaking, I think Austin's very nice. It's a very like that original Austin without a ton of finish on it has like a really, really great feel to me. LA says, "Are you going to sell any gun holsters?" No, we had thought about that because there's a brand called Crossbreed that does some cool stuff. Honestly, like I don't know enough about gun holsters to do it, but the leather that we're using again on the shell cordovan belt, today's the last day to order it if we have a size available for you. The leather on the liner of this belt is actually the same leather. It's the same veg that is used for a lot of gun holsters. So we could do it because we've been buying the material. And that what they do is they wet mold that veg around a gun blank and it holds that shape very nicely. So I had thought about doing it, but I don't know enough about guns to do it justice. That's not to say that we won't. I don't know if that's something that we're going towards at the moment, but it's something I thought about because I know that they were making a lot of gun holsters and I was like, I could do that. But these days, like we're kind of just trying to keep up with what we're already doing. Matt says, "Are these my in-ear monitors for music performance?" These aren't. I use something like this for when I play shows. These are a different brand. I think this is called Tin. I don't love these, honestly, but I didn't want to throw them out. I've been using these like KZ K240s or something. They're like $30 on Amazon. They're awesome. And I highly recommend, what is that called? Bear with me. I'll look them up because they're so good. KZ K240 in here. They're not over the ear. No, I'm thinking of AKG K240s. In-ear monitor KZ. I think it's there. It is. Okay, so the ones I have are the KZ ZS10 Pro. Looks like they're $50 now. I love those, and I use those to mix music. I use those to perform live. They're awesome. KZ ZS10 Pro. They used to be like $30, and I couldn't believe how cheap they were. I should buy another pair of those for work here because I don't. These are too top heavy, and there's like no low end in it. Diet Coke guy, hell yeah, coffee. No coffee anymore. Yeah, I have to cut myself off at noon is my new cutoff, otherwise I can't sleep. All right, we gotta wrap it up here. Good question though. When's the next private stock drop? We're gonna do another private stock in March. I don't know when yet, and the items for that are still being built. Minted Panda said, just reach out to Matt, but I guess it looks used. I just give it to my best friend. I have another option. Does Johnny Fox have natural shell? Does the Johnny the Fox natural shell have cream stitching? I don't know if we have any of those in stock at all, but generally speaking, yes, we will do a stitching on the natural shell cordovan by default that looks this color. So we sometimes we call this the cream thread. But that's what we do by default. But if we don't even have it, I don't know if we do. We can have one made to order for you with any color stitching you want. And one more note, Minted Panda, there's 2 Facebook groups that I'm involved in. One is the Ashland Leather Patina Masters, where you can check out like how sweet people's wallets are wearing in. There's another group where people are doing buying and selling. So you might have some success being able to sell your wallet, especially if it's like a cool 3-shot. I know there's several people in there that are interested in those 3 shots. Many people. We don't make a lot of 3 shots, so you might be able to sell it. Cordovan Hobbyist. Hi, Phil. What's your favorite marble chill color? Mine's color 8. Marbled color 8. Nice. Wow, the marbled shells are all really great, especially that marbled 8. I think it depends on from shell to shell. And so here's the super privileged way of saying I see a lot of marbled shells. It depends on the marble patterning. So for me, I like when there's just crazy streaks, and they're very dramatic, like very immediate color gradients and less of the subtle color gradients. Most people like the more subtle marbling. I like when it's just like harsh line of burgundy next to tan, and then like a little bit of a gradient and something else, and like crazy patterns. I like the marbled colorate too, I think. I It's so hard. I think I'd have to give it to marbled black though, because there's something about that green in the marbled black. When it gets just right in the marbling, I think that's money. But they're both pretty. They're pretty great. I get your remark on the Matt says I get your remark on the distance, but I think the fact that it's not a paint but aniline dye does confirm that you're still dealing with real good leather. Good is subjective, right, Matt? So it's like you'll never see me do a video like saying this is the best leather. I would like to do that because I would get a lot of clicks, but it's so subjective, right? Because like my wife might not like an aniline leather. She might, or my mom, or pick a person. A person might want a very flat and consistent look, and they don't necessarily want it to scratch, right? They're not willing to give that payoff or that trade off of the aniline sort of stuff. But I think it's more of like, for me too, before I worked at the tannery, when you told me something is made out of leather, I would imagine that it is brown. So I think there is this dissonance of color still, which I can't blame anybody. Like, how would anybody know that you can make different color leathers? So I think us putting out this royal blue was a risk, because I don't think many people are searching for a blue wallet, but nobody does it. There's not many people doing this, so I think that's why it's been so successful. So maybe we'll do more of it. We'll just invest some more money in new custom colors, which is like really expensive. The leather's only getting more and more expensive too. The color next should be red or an olive green. I like that minted. Anthony says, "Hey Phil, when do you think the English tan Dublin Fat Herbie will come back in stock?" You know what, man, Anthony, we've been struggling to keep everything in stock. But that's a great one for you to message my brother. Odds are, I'm trying to look. Odds are we're working on a batch right now. So the best thing to do would be to just message Matt and say, "Hey, I'd really like an English tan Herbie. Can you reserve the next fillable for me? Phil said so." And he'll set up an order for you, and then when the next one comes through, we'll send it to you. That's the best way to do it for out of stock stuff. And I'm sorry that it's out of stock. I do wish we could have things available all the time. This is also the trade-off between making a lot of cool, unique things and having a ton of stock of one thing. So the wider we go, this is a Phil business hat moment again, but the wider we go on our offerings, the less we can make of each. So I've been struggling for years with like that challenge of how do we make new, interesting stuff and have it available? Because I have a wall of belts behind me. We're sold out of a lot of belts. I have a wall of wallets over there. We're sold out of a lot of wallets. I don't like that you can't get something that you want. And that me making that happen created a royal blue wallet instead of me giving you the English tan that you wanted. So we lost on one, but maybe gained two somewhere else. And same with the shell belt. Like we don't have a wall belt. You can see there's no English tan. It's like a couple size 30s and that's it. So we sacrificed making those belts in exchange for doing something new, the color 4 shell belt. And that trade-off is something I struggle with. So I have to find a good balance. Another long-winded answer of saying, just message Matt and he'll hook you up with the next one. We might even have some here that are floating around that are just not ready to put up on the site yet. But hit us up. His email address is info@ashlandleather.com, Anthony. Leather's a new coffee. Oh, Tyler, thank you for ordering a custom order. Appreciate you supporting us. Joseph says, do not disturb the chat, but does anybody wear a passport wallet, carry a lot of cash We've done. I'm actually looking at a prototype of a passport wallet we're working on. We used to do something called the Herbie Traveler. Um, that's basically exactly the Fat Herbie, but we made it so this interior stitch here didn't happen. So this whole inside piece sort of flaps open. You can slide a passport in. It never fit perfectly, and I'll tease this. So we designed this recently. This is the first. Excuse me. This is the first prototype. This whole thing is not stitched, and this is a little bit taller than the Herbie. Because if you see that there, it's just very slightly taller because you can fit a passport inside here. And then we did start including the bill slot in the back. So it's like a passport actual wallet. It's a little bit bigger than the Herbie, so it doesn't fit your credit cards as precisely as it does on the original Herbie. But I felt like this was another one of those good compromises to be able to fit a passport in to the side. So we're not, I mean, these aren't released yet, but this is what we've been thinking about for a while. It's like a good way to fit a passport, or like a even more precise way to fit a passport into a wallet like a Herbie. And these are great for that reason, but also the Herbie being a little bit larger will fit all the euros, all the yen, all the bill sizes. It's like a really good travel wallet option. So we're thinking about that a little bit. And for me, when I travel, I actually put my passport in something similar to this, but without the bill slot. And then once I arrived at the place, I put my passport in a safe. So maybe not the most necessary. But it is good for me to have like a case to hold a thing that always goes in there. Otherwise I lose it. In the same way of having the Valet tray is nice to keep my stuff together. Matt reached out to Viberg on their TPR leather. We use TPR because it adds waterproofing and protective layer for the first few months of wear. It extends the new boot look past the first wear and makes it easier to shine. It's not permanent coating and will wear off over time. Oh, that's really interesting. Yeah, anybody that tells you a leather boot or shoe is waterproof should always include the caveat of for a little bit, because that waterproofing does fade away. Thank you for the info on TPR, by the way, Matt. I appreciate that. Learning. All right. I really do have to go. Let's see. I'm skimming for good questions. Joseph, if you want that passport holder, we can probably work up something for you. The KZ Pros. Yeah, they're awesome. They're awesome headphones. Highly recommend. Can I get a custom stamp on my wallet? No C right before the Ashland stamp. Yeah, Loaded Fan, send us an email and we can send you a preview. We do laser etching for personalization, and the thing we use will give you a preview. It's a low quality image, but we can sort of overlay whatever you want to see on the wallet to show you what it would look like before we monogram it. That way we can be certain that you like it. Salnote 0 IM. I'm going to look that up. I'm going to look that up right now. Thank you, Mark. I love audio so much. Oh, they're $22. Give me a break. $23. Yeah, all right. I'll try them out, especially because there's a cool like teal color. All right. Thank you guys so much for hanging. Oh, let me thank everybody. Isaiah, thank you so much for reminding me. We're going to thank everybody that's picked up something. I'm going to list off your name, and if you hear your name, you probably saw your item earlier in the video. So Matthew, Jalen, Shane, and by the way, if you ordered made to order, I might list your name, but you did not see your thing in the video here. So we got Shane, Brandon, Matthew B, Andrew, Paul, Angel, Young Ping, Thomas, Douglas, Naoto, Semus, Matthew M, Vance, Joseph, Vince, Conan, Nick, Sean, Jacob, Zachary, Stephen P, Stephen H, Pablo, John N, Vincent, Paul, Linda, Isaiah, and Christopher. I think I saw Isaiah in the chat. That's what you were looking for, Isaiah. We got you. I didn't forget about you. What do we got for you, Isaiah? I'm gonna peek. Oh, you got one of the foxes. Whoa. Almost spilled all my stuff. Isaiah, this might be your fox. I'm really excited for you to have it. The royal blue, everything's turning out great. In particular, the foxes. There's something about all these layers of that blue. It's really, really, really nice. I'm excited for you to have it. Guys, thank you for hanging out today. I appreciate it. Thanks for allowing me to be a little bit late here with the chat. I think we've got an upgraded bit of the stream here. And I did this because, again, like people are asking for it. People wanted better audio. So happy to improve on more stuff. If you have other comments like, hey, I wish this camera angle was better, which I do. Like I want to work on it. I've got some tripods. Maybe I can figure out a better way to do this. But I do have to kind of be tethered to this USB cable, unfortunately. Unless I figure out a wireless way. There might be something. Maybe I buy some crazy gear and do live streams through the shop here. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Have a great day. I'll see you later. I'm glad that